report. Now, forget about leaving notes in a hollow tree or even a secret meeting with Deep Throat in a parking garage. Times have changed. The self-declared NSA leaker Edward Snowden is speaking out publicly again, this time in an extraordinary live online chat with The Guardian. CNN's Nick Robertson is in Hong Kong, where Snowden has been in hiding. And one thing he did not reveal today, Nick, is his whereabouts, right?
No clues on his whereabouts, although I guess we can take away from this that he does have decent access to the internet. He was online chatting for about an hour and 3/4. He had about 2,000 questions lined up. He got through about 1%, 20 of them. He was asked about whether or not he was a traitor, whether or not he was going to give documents, secret documents that he had to the Chinese. And I'll quote from what he said here. He said, "Ask yourself, if I were a Chinese spy, wouldn't I have flown directly to Beijing? I could be living in a palace petting a phoenix now." That was an exact quote of what he said. So knocking down the idea that he's about to give secrets to the Chinese, which is a rumor that's been going around. And to Dick Cheney, and the former vice president who's accused him of being a traitor, read you here what he said back to Dick Cheney as well. He said, "This is the man who gave us the warrantless wiretapping scheme as a kind of atrocity warm-up on the way to deceitfully engineering a conflict that has killed over 4,400 and maimed nearly 32,000 Americans, as well as leaving 100,000 Iraqis dead. Being called a traitor by Dick Cheney is the highest honor you can give an American." That was what Edward Snowden was saying this evening. He was really hitting back, giving details, but really pushing back and trying to get his narrative across here tonight, Jim.
And Nick, he really seemed to be playing to his audience, I suppose. If there are a lot of Edward Snowden sympathizers out there, he certainly tossed out a lot of red meat to them, talking about Dick Cheney, although inexplicably at one point he talked about the Senate's Gang of Eight, which has more to do with immigration right now than surveillance activities on the intelligence front. Did he give any insights during this exchange, very lengthy exchange, Nick, what his next move might be?
We really didn't get any clues for his next move. I mean, he has indicated that he would be willing to sort of follow the justice here in Hong Kong. We've heard from state media inside China indicating that the Chinese in Beijing think that the Hong Kong authorities here shouldn't hand him back if they were asked the United States. But he was asked why he came to Hong Kong, and the journalist who asked him that question clearly had an indication that he might have wanted to go to Iceland rather than Hong Kong. But the way that he answered this question, Snowden said that, you know, as an NSA employee, you have to give 30 days notice about traveling. So he could only travel at the last minute, only buy a ticket at the last minute. He was afraid of being interdicted on the flight, but he said, I had to go somewhere where I could get my message out. And that was why he says he chose Hong Kong, Jim.
And it did seem that, just reading between the lines, that a lot of planning has gone into what Edward Snowden is up to these days and what he might be doing in the future. Nick Robertson, thank you very much for that. From the time the news broke at 9 a.m. Eastern time here in the United States that Snowden would do a live chat, and for nearly the next 4 hours, there were over 17,000 mentions on Twitter of the hashtag #AskSnowden. That is how they ask people to ask questions of Edward Snowden on the Guardian website. According to the social analytics company Topsy, the United States had the most tweets according to that location. The UK came in second. Coming up next.